My name is Olivia. I want to share my story with you. It's a story about love, some big mistakes I made, and the hope that keeps me going. When I was little, I was a very shy child. I didn't talk much, and making friends was hard for me. My parents were quite protective. They had a lot of rules. They didn't want me playing outside too much, and they preferred I didn't have many friends over. They thought it was safer for me to stay home. I spent most of my days inside. I often watched other kids playing in the street from my window, wishing I could join them. But my parents always said, "Stay inside, Olivia. It's for your own good." Because of this, I didn't go to kindergarten. So when I finally started school, I was really nervous. I kept thinking, how will I even talk to these other kids? But surprisingly, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Slowly, I started making a few friends. Even though I made friends, I was still quiet in school. I had this little voice in my head that always said, "Be quiet, be safe." I loved to draw. Art was my favorite thing to do. I dreamed of joining the art club and maybe even some sports teams. But my parents said no. They believed that school was only for studying. "Art and sports are not important, Olivia. Focus on your books," they would say. So I never got to explore those passions. After high school, I went to college. It was a big change for me, being more independent. That's where I met a boy named Ethan. He was charming and full of life. He always had a funny story to tell, and he made me laugh a lot. He would tell me, "Olivia, you have such a kind heart," and I felt really special when I was with him. We would talk for hours about everything and nothing. He quickly became my closest friend. He would say things like, "You understand me better than anyone else." I had plans for college. I wanted to study hard and get a good job. But Ethan didn't seem to like that idea. He would say, "Why do you need to work so hard? You could just marry me, and I'll take care of you." I was only 19 years old, and I thought I was deeply in love. I believed Ethan would always be there for me. One day he asked me to marry him. He painted this picture of a happy life together, starting a family. I was so caught up in the romance of it all that I stopped going to college. I gave up on my studies and my dreams. I thought love was the most important thing in the world. At first, things were wonderful. We were so happy together. Soon, we had a baby girl. We named her Chloe. She was tiny and perfect. But slowly, things started to shift. Ethan started telling me what I could and couldn't wear. He didn't like my clothes if they were too bright or too casual. He even made comments about my hair. He preferred it long, and I liked it shorter. He would say, "If you loved me, you would change your style for me." Then he started telling me I didn't need to see my friends anymore. "They're not good for you. You should stay home with Chloe," he would say. Ethan started going out more with his friends and coming home late. When I asked him where he had been, he would just say, "Out with the guys." I felt so lonely. I wanted to talk to him, to tell him how I was feeling, but he wouldn't really listen. He would just brush me off or change the subject. One night he got really angry. He started shouting at me, saying hurtful things. He told me I wasn't a good wife. I cried myself to sleep that night. Then, one day, it happened. Ethan hit me. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. I cried all night. I wanted to leave, but I was so scared. I didn't know where to go or what to do. I went to my parents, hoping they would help me. I told them what was happening, but they just said, "You made your choice, Olivia. You are married now. You need to stay with your husband and make it work." Their words were like a punch to the gut. I felt so alone. I went back to Ethan. I told myself things would get better. I tried to forgive him. Soon after, I found out I was pregnant again. This time we had a son. We named him Leo. He had my eyes, and I loved him so much. Ethan didn't even come to the hospital when Leo was born. When I finally came home with our new baby, he just looked at me and said, "Why are you home so soon? I wasn't expecting you." I felt so hurt and unwanted. Then Ethan started being very open about having another woman in his life. He didn't even try to hide it. He told me she understood him better than I did. He said he was happier with her. I felt so small and insignificant. I desperately wanted to leave, but I didn't know how. I had no money of my own, and I had 2 young children to take care of. One day, Ethan decided to join the army. He just left me with Chloe and Leo. He said, "You'll manage, you always do." I cried every single day. During this time, my grandmother, who I was very close to, passed away. My parents moved to another state shortly after. I felt completely alone in the world. Ethan would call occasionally from the army. One day he called and said, "I've met someone new. I think I'm in love." I couldn't believe it. I asked him why, and he just said he was happier with her. 3 months later, he called again. His voice sounded different. He said, "Olivia, I made a mistake. Please take me back. I miss you and the kids." Despite everything, I still loved him. A part of me wanted things to go back to how they were in the beginning. So I said okay. We tried to fix our marriage, but Ethan hadn't really changed. He still hurt me with his words, and the trust was broken. We've been married for 15 years now. Ethan tries to be better sometimes, but he still has a way of making me feel small and unworthy. I often think about my life. Why did I forgive him so many times? Why did I stay when I was so unhappy? I'm 34 years old now. I'm not the same naive girl I was when I first met Ethan. I'm stronger in some ways, but I also feel incredibly tired. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions, like I don't really exist. But deep down, I want to believe in a better future. I want to find happiness for myself and my children. Every morning, I wake up early. The first thing I do is look at Chloe and Leo. They are my reason to keep going. Chloe is 9 now. She loves to read and write stories. Leo is 5. He is full of energy and loves to build things with his blocks. I tell myself, "Be strong for them, Olivia." I make them breakfast and pack Chloe's lunch for school. Leo stays home with me. Some days are really hard. I feel so tired and sad. I often wonder how my life ended up like this. One afternoon there was a knock on the door. It was my neighbor, Maria. She had a warm smile and said, "Hi, Olivia. I was wondering if you'd like to come over for coffee." I almost said no. I was worried about what Ethan might say if he found out, but I really needed someone to talk to. So I said yes. Maria listened patiently as I told her some of what I was going through. She was so kind and understanding. She said, "Olivia, you don't have to go through this alone. I'm here for you." Her words made me cry. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so completely alone. Maria had an idea. She knew I used to love to bake. She suggested, "Why don't you start baking again? You could even sell your cakes. There's a small market down the street." I thought about it. Ethan had always discouraged me from working outside the home, but maybe I could do something small from home. I started baking cakes and cookies. At first it was difficult. I wasn't sure if I could really do it, but I worked hard, and people seemed to like my treats. Slowly, I started getting more and more orders. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of pride in myself. I thought, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can build something for myself and my kids. One evening, Ethan came home in a bad mood. He saw me in the kitchen, baking, and he got angry. "Why are you doing this? You don't need to work. I provide for this family," he shouted. I looked at him, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of defiance inside me. I said, "I need to do this for me, Ethan, and for the kids. I won't stop." Ethan was shocked. He didn't say anything for a moment. I was scared, but I also felt a sense of strength I hadn't felt in a long time. Life didn't magically change overnight. Ethan still gets angry sometimes, but something shifted in me. I started to set boundaries. I told him, I will not allow you to hurt me anymore. If you ever hit me again, I will leave. He probably didn't believe me at first, but I stayed firm. I knew I had to protect myself and my children. I also started making an effort to connect with other people. Maria introduced me to some of her friends. They were kind and supportive. I started doing small things I used to enjoy. I even cut my hair shorter again, the way I liked it. I started wearing clothes that made me feel good, even if they were a little brighter than Ethan preferred. I started to feel like myself again after so many years. One day, Chloe looked at me and said, "Mom, you look so happy." Her words made me smile. Now, I'm starting to think about what I truly want from my life. I want a safe and happy home for my children. I want to feel free and independent. I don't know if Ethan will ever truly change, but I know that I have changed. I am not the same scared girl I was before. I often tell myself, one day you will find peace, Olivia. I don't know when that day will come, but I believe it will. If you are reading my story, I want you to know that you are strong. You can survive hard times. Don't give up on yourself. I hope my story gives someone out there a little bit of hope. Enjoyed this story? Subscribe for more like it. Share your thoughts in the comments and spread the emotion with others. Don't forget to give it a like.